Hello and welcome. My name is Trismegistus. Ouch. And this is Factorio, only it's slightly different. Let me just adjust the camera. Okay. Slightly different from this week. And you can see why, basically. And anyone who's in the community, I need to scroll that up actually, will know about this. And what I'm going to do from now on is the first half hour or so, I will read through the Factorio Friday Facts because they've announced that those are returning now that they're providing some more detail about the expansion. And I'm going to do that by literally reading it through and then sort of speculating on each section so that I can edit it down for a YouTube video. Just so that I've got that as a separate, tighter experience. So, I say some of them are from experience, some of them are longer, some of them are shorter, some of them have a tendency to be a bit technical, so I may skip those or skip those parts. But this one's certainly an interesting starter. So, yes, welcome. This is a read-through of the Friday Facts 373, Factorio Space Age. Posted by Kovarax and Erendel, or Erendel, I don't know how you pronounce that, on Friday. So, hello, long time no see. Today we are going to talk about the expansion, which is called Factorio Space Age. And it gives a great big teaser image. We'll come back to this. Really love the look of some of this. But yes, so, what is Factorio Space Age? Factorio Space Age continues the player's journey after launching rockets into space. Discover new worlds with unique challenges, exploit their novel resources for advanced technological gains, and manage your fleet of interplanetary space platforms. Vanilla Factorio ends by launching the rocket into space, so I always expected it to be quite obvious what we are going to do next. Honestly, the space platform related gameplay was actually planned a very long time ago, and we have shown a little bit in FFF373, so Friday Facts 74. This was before I actually started playing the game, and you can see specific mention. Well, you can even see that's a mock-up of the platform, and if you look at this bottom end of it, it's very, very similar to this. So they really are just keeping going the original idea. But yes, so I did have a quick read of that. It's not massively illuminating. It's quite out of date as well. But yes, we had a very similar kind of story with the Spidertron. Its concept was teased for the first time in Friday Facts 120. I remember that one. Just to be quietly abandoned and then revived 4 years later. But as you might or might not know, the new name Wooby is an abbreviation of, I do not know how to pronounce that, which Chico Beji, which means something like everything will be done eventually. We didn't abandon the plan, we just realised it would be way too ambitious to try to fit into the 1.0 Factorio release, so it was eventually just postponed to the expansion. In retrospect, it was clearly a good idea. So, yes, I guess the big announcement there is that the Factorio expansion is Space Age, a space-based expansion. We know that they hired a Randall, and it will. He's got a section later on, and that was always the speculation. So it's good to have a bit of a confirmation. But we'll keep going, and I'll loop back to it, discussing it. So the main structure: instead of sending one rocket to space, you have to send many, because you need to use them to transport materials to build big space platforms in orbit. The rocket is cheaper in Space Age to not make it a drag forever, but you still are expected to build bigger in preparation of what is to come. The space platforms are used on their own to generate space science, but mainly they are eventually used to travel to different planets and for automated interplanetary logistics. We decided to go with the approach of having a small number of predefined planets which represent your progression throughout the game. The expansion contains 4 additional planets, each of which has its own unique theme, resource, challenges, and gameplay mechanics. Most of them also have different military targets. Every planet leads to production of specific science specs and its technologies. The order in which you exploit planets is an impactful strategic choice. They then show the 4 planets here, and as someone pointed out on Reddit, I think these are probably placeholders, or they may just use them, but this is Mars. Basically, it's been recolored slightly. Mars is grey or brownish rather than red, as people tend to think of it is, because it's rust. And this is Earth, and it's actually Australia, and then the sort of China, Japan, peninsula type thing, and Taiwan and all that sort of stuff around there. So this is just a sort of recoloured Earth. I think I've just inverted the colour. And then this is Venus. And then this, I believe, they said was Mercury. I'm not sure on that. But yes, so, because it looks a bit like the moon to me. But yes, as you can see, we've got 4 new planets. And the tech tree here is showing that you can essentially choose which planet you go to by the looks of things, and they sort of mention this later on. And each of those can have a unique resource coming out of it. These actually look different. I don't know if that's obvious, but those are sort of the conical beaker type flasks, so that sort of shape, whereas these are properly round beakers, so they are obviously different. And I don't know whether that means they're an end product, but it's interesting that you've got 4 sciences being shown here producing that beaker, so it feels like all of those 4 sciences will need to feed in. However, they are the standard sciences, so red, green, blue and white, so perhaps it's placeholder and there will be different colours, but it's interesting that the basic sciences are being used to produce a new science. It could just be an unlock, though. This could be saying that you have to have those to unlock travel to that planet, perhaps. Although you would have thought it was more to do with satellites and things like that, probes or something like that. But I suppose the other one is that this is a tech tree, so it's showing that. However, note that this is red, green and blue here. So they do mention this elsewhere, that it's simpler to get the rocket. And if that means it's red, green and blue, you can get that quite early, very early in fact. That's sort of a post-oil rather than prod science and sort of, what do you call it, high-tech science, So it's interesting that this seems to be quite a fairly significant rework of the tech tree as well. Anyway, coming back to it later, but read on the rewards. Since we have a lot of new challenges, we also had to balance the set of rewards you get for each stage of the game. We have a set of cool new things in the expansion, but the player is quite omnipotent at the end of the vanilla playthrough, so we had to make some tough decisions. Since the goal was to make the overall expansion experience as good as possible, we have rebalanced the tech tree. This means that with Space Age enabled, some items that are available in vanilla are unlocked later on the same planet. This specifically applies to artillery, cliff explosives, this is the masochist part of me speaking, hopefully you could turn them off, Spidertron, best tier of modules, and some personal equipment upgrades. Based on testing, these changes made the choice of where and when to go even more meaningful. On the other hand, space will be available sooner, and there will be some nice additions available directly on Nalvis, the vanilla planet. This implies that technically, you could just take your vanilla base, activate the expansion, and continue playing. But the best way to experience it will be to play with Space Age from the start to finish. So, what I'm taking this to mean, because if you notice, there's 4 things, I think. So, artillery, cliff explosives, Spidertron, modules, and then some personal equipment upgrades. Well, they're sort of related because personal equipment is blue chips, so a lot of it, the higher tier stuff. So it sort of implies that maybe you go to one planet and get, or you can get artillery and cliff explosives maybe, Spidertrons from another planet, modules and personal equipments from another, and that ties up with these 3. And so the choice then is which we go to and exploit and work on first. And they're your sort of intermediate rewards. So they're what you get for finishing that planet, in quotes. And then you obviously have to exploit all 3 in order to get this planet. And as I say, if this is a tech tree, that implies that you need to have all of these extra sciences available in order to research how to get to that planet. What's on that planet then is a question. Maybe Spidertron's on that planet. That's how it works, sort of thing. In the previous news, version 2.0 is not just about the expansion. In the previous news about the expansion, Friday Facts 367, we declared that the content will be technically a mod taking advantage of the updated engine. What this means is that a lot of the improvements will be for all players, regardless of them having the expansion or not. Example of things that will be in the 2.0 update are the ability to control systems better blueprint building, better flying robot behavior, and many more. It will all be covered in more details in future Friday Facts. I don't know what better train systems would be. Perhaps taking on board some of the mods, LCN mod, I think it is, the train ones. Better blueprint building is interesting as well. It does have some problems when you're building blueprints that are very large. So perhaps there's some, new ways of managing larger blueprints. Better flying robot behavior, to me, implies that a smarter behavior. Whether they're buffing robots to compensate, I don't, for the extra computational complexity, I'm not sure, because the robot behavior is very, very simple because you might have millions of bots, so it reduces the calculation time. So perhaps there are more buffs to robots that mean you don't need quite as many. They carry more, they move even faster, that sort of thing. But yeah, so we will see what those are in the Friday Facts. Right, so I guess the other speculation point was this platform. They do give a separate. You can open the video basically, and people have analysed this a bit on Reddit, and they kind of came to similar conclusions I did. That these engine animations are awesome. I love them, but somebody pointed out that the left one, it has an orange exhaust, and the right one has a blue exhaust. And also they sort of shut down. You can see fluid moving in the pipe then. And then they kick in. So the implication, because you've got two, and you see this pipe is now empty, and then it kicks in as doing the orange stuff. So what's actually happening is pretty certain, is these guns are shooting asteroids. You can't quite see them. I think one of them does peek in at the edge somewhere, but they're shooting asteroids and they're getting different materials, different minerals. These grabber arms are awesome. I hope we get something to do with Spidertron to do that. I hope that gets extended to Spidertron, and it's got like grabby arms on it. But yes, these guys are grabbing the debris, the rubble from shot asteroids. Presumably, there is a mechanic in SpaceX where your ship gets hit by asteroids, but I don't think that's what would happen here. I think this is just literally like resource gathering. And they're shooting the asteroids, and these are grabbing the resultant bits and pieces. They're then going into, this is like a collector as well, and it then feeds it into a crusher. So we're getting crushers in the game. Whether that means we're getting different minerals that can be crushed, like aluminium and stuff, I don't know. It then feeds it into a chemical plant, which is interesting. And you've got you've got 3 chemical plants on here in total, but one of these is clearly ice, because I think it's this blue one. I might be able to see it down here. So I think this is ice, basically. Oh no, there we go. That's the ice, is it? Can you grab those? But yeah, whichever one it is, because these are filter inserters, stack filter inserters. And I think the internals of this ship is like a storage chest. I think it's a great big storage chest, effectively, because there are no storage chests, and yet everything is managing to run and work. And I think these are actually how you access the storage chest, something along those lines. And so you pull out the material. It's interesting that this one is normal stack inserters. So there may be some way to get these to filter to only pick up certain things, but I say that and it's picking up lots of different stuff, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But basically these are making iron plate out of iron from the from the asteroids, which are then, this is making ammo, obviously, which is then being used to feed the various turrets. This is a snaking spaghetti style belt going round. This one, I don't know if this is just a mistake or but this one has no access to ammo. It's obviously not shooting, but then it's at the back. So I say I don't know whether it's meant as a deliberate thing or a misdirection or what have you, but it won't have access to ammo unless this thing can provide ammo. I'll come back to that in a second. But yeah, it looks like basically whatever these are being processed into via the chemical plants is two types of fluid. I mean, this just looks like water, blue one, which it may well be. And then what this is, I don't know. It could be temperature thing. It could be heat, basically. So it could be that this is a hot water and this is cold water. That will be a change from how they normally do it. You know, you'd normally expect it to be steam, say. So I'm expecting this is probably more like iron infused water or something like that, which implies maybe we can do washing of materials. So all sorts of possibilities here. But this is basically pulling out ice and making water by the looks of things. And then to say not entirely clear what these are doing, other than this is, you know, the orange fluid and this is the blue fluid, and they're clearly feeding the various engine components. This thing in the middle, I mean, it's clearly placeholder art because it's drawn rather than the art style, if you see what I mean. So I actually really love it. I think I'm not entirely sure that Factorio wouldn't be... Oh! There's a raid coming in there. Just reading through the Friday facts. Cosidered, thank you very much for the raid. It's very kind. I hope you're doing well. Have you just been streaming Factorio, or you streaming something else? Anyway, this thing in the middle, as I say, it's clearly drawn. You know, it's clearly like placeholder art. But it also, to me, looks like it's got a launch pad on it, basically, because that is like a miniature version of the silo, the rocket silo. So I don't know whether this can just flies around the solar system, gathering resources, and then every so often it'll send off a rocket full of material. Oh, Silent Storm coming in as well. Wow. New Friday facts hype and more raid. Thank you very much, Silent Storm. Hope you've been doing well. We've been playing your multiplayer. Major Mayhem, thank you very much for the raid. Comment, sorry. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to stream all. Crikey, I wasn't expecting this. I've gone live early so that I could, because what I do with these, I record myself, like reading them out, and then chop it up and put it on my YouTube channel. And I was, so I went live early, not expecting anyone to sort of join. But it looks like I've had 2 raids come in. I hope it's going well, your multiplayer. So I was just speculating on the what this might be. We also got the static image I was going to show up just to show the because this is clearly say placeholder. I think they said that in a reply comment to one of the Reddit threads. And as I was saying, I think this looks very Akira to me. If you've ever seen the film Akira, have people not seen Akira? That would be weird, but. You know, all the pipes and lines going around looks very like the bunker that they go to at the end of the film. But so I think that's just a stylistic thing, because these don't tend to have wires on them, a lot of the machines, and that's, you know, because of the whole red and green wires that they do that. So it may well change because it's only a placeholder. It does also look like a cabin. You know, this looks to me like weirdly it's at the back, but you've got that one as well, I guess, and it looks like maybe we can travel in this. Like this is the control, you know, like the, what would you call it, the bridge for the thing, and then you build this platform to suit you, because we know it's going to be very similar in some ways to SpaceX, and obviously that's what you do in SpaceX when you're building your rockets. Yeah, my favourite part is these. Well, my favourite part is actually the engines, the animation on the engines. They just look awesome. But yeah, I love these arms, the grabby arms. I say, I hope we get to use them. Yes, so I guess welcome all, and I hope you are happy to sit and watch. So I'm basically going to read through the Friday facts as you know, go through and then speculate. So if you've got any thoughts and input, I'd love to hear it. But let's say I'm intending to chop this up for a video, so I will just read through. Right, that was the old Friday facts where they're talking about the platform. And we talked about the planets already. So, the good news and the bad news. Let's start with the probably bad news. Since we know where we are and what is the goal, we can start to approximate the date of releasing the expansion, which is planned to be about 1 year from now. It is still a long time, but at least it's getting more specific. So, that is a long time because they've been working on this for 4 years, is it? I can't remember how long ago that Factorio actually went version 1.0, but it's quite a while. They did lay out this 7-step plan. I think I actually talked through that one. And they're saying that, so I'll just read it. So, previous post 367 declared a 7-step plan where we were at step 4. Now we're at the end of step 5 and have started some things from step 6 already. So, step 4 was this connecting systems into prototype. They just finished that one. Step 5 was first pass for tweaking. Now they posted this back in February of last year. So what's that? That's 15 months ago, is it? More than that? 18 months? Something like that. So they've spent a year, basically, doing the first pass of tweaking. They go into that in a bit more detail, but basically this is them playtesting it to work out whether it's fun and whether it meets their objectives. And so they're getting now into the beta test phase, where it's a bit more firmed up and they're actually putting it out. It has been playable from start to finish for more than a year. This means that we have already made several improvement iterations based on the playthroughs behind us. We are doing 3 types of testing, which were all very useful. Just playing the game on our own and contemplating how it feels. Office LAN party, which is also a great way to test multiplayer. Individual testers, we had a few outside testers who played it from start to finish and gave us detailed feedback. Be interesting to know who those were. I assume they're more sort of close friends and things like that, but I wonder if it was anyone from the community. It would I don't think it would be, because the risk of leaks would be too significant given how clammed up they've been. The feedback led us to make different kinds of changes. For example, 2 planets were way too repetitive and similar to Nalvis, and we had to do a complete overhaul to make them more different. The game was a little bit slow and grindy, so we were speeding things up, which doesn't mean dumbing it down. The goal was to be able to finish it in non-speedrun mode in less than 80 hours for an experienced player. We were trying to keep the mechanics and just cut down on the recipe counts and costs. We improved many UIs related to the new and sometimes old parts of the game many times. It was kind of annoying to redo so much, but based on the result and reactions, it was definitely worth it. This means that we have something we are happy with, it's pretty stable, and we don't expect any further brutal changes to come. We have already a stable list of tasks to be finished, both for programmers and artists, which makes us confident that we can release a polished product in about a year. Hello, an entire sleeve. Hello. Good to the chat. So just as I don't know if you joined or you want to raid us, but so I'm just going to read through the Friday facts and say if there's any thoughts on that, I'll pick them up as I sort of go along. But I'd like to edit this down for a little YouTube video on my YouTube channel. But yes, hello and welcome. Later on, we'll get into the actual gameplay. So I've got a series running called Aesthetic Factorio, where I'm trying to build aesthetic builds in Factorio. You'll see what I mean when we get into it if you hang around. But yeah, that's a really long-term playthrough. Oh, thank you very much, the follow, very, very kind. Very much appreciated. But the plan from now on, because they've said, well, we'll come to it later, they've said they're going to do the Friday facts very often, like weekly again. So I'm going to do the read-throughs and then play the game sort of thing. I say, just so I can chop it up. The good news, but there is the hopefully good news. From now on, we are stopping the embargo on expansion content, and we will be publishing Friday Facts every week about all the different aspects of the expansion until release. We will mostly show what we have done, or what we are working on. We are also looking forward to the feedback from the community, which has proved useful so many times already. The quantity of things we have, I'm confident that we won't run out of topics until the release. So that means another 50 Friday Facts, give or take. My anticipation is probably, I don't know, they may go straight for a full release in a year's time. But if you think about how close we are to Christmas and the sort of October window that seems to be the really popular pre-Christmas release window for games, I think that's probably what they're targeting. It might prove quite interesting because I don't know that Satisfactory won't be trying to aim for that as well, because they've repeatedly said that they're trying to wrap up their development for Satisfactory. So yeah, we might end up with Satisfactory and Factorio basically launching the next versions at the same time. I'm not sure what's happened with Dyson Sphere Program. Is the other this type of game that I love. It seems to have gone a little quiet. So I don't know if they're struggling a bit with the performance issues that they were talking about in the last update they gave. But that's the combat update for that should be coming fairly soon. So there's a possibility, if that's the last thing they put in DSP, that all three of my favourite factory games are going to be sort of either fully released or doing an expansion all at the same time. So quite what I'm going to stream, I don't know, but yes. So I say the plan is to go forward to do reads of the Friday Facts through and put them up as YouTube videos. It kind of blows my mind how well engineered Factorio is as a piece of software under the hood. Oh, it's amazing. It's I was talking about this with a friend the other day. It's like it just works in a sense. I know that's become a cliche phrase, but the stuff that when you see the bug fixes they do on the thing, and it's just the most insane edge case thing, and that's what they're fixing. Then they're still fixing it. Horrible for playing though. I had to decide which one to play for sure. Yeah, yeah. I say quite what I'm gonna stream if all three of them sort of come out at the same time. I don't know because I mean obviously this, but whether I'd have to sort of pick between DSP and Satisfactory, and I'm feeling DSP would win, to be honest with you. Right, there's a mod for that from Erandel. Or Erandel, I never know how to pronounce it. A lot of people are going to make comparisons between the Space Age expansion and the Space Exploration mod. I've worked on the game design for both. On Space Age I made the first space, plus planet prototypes builds, plus I've been involved in most of the gameplay discussions since. On SpaceX, well, it's my mod, I made it. I think that makes me the most qualified to talk about how these two things are very different from the ground up. Excuse me. So there's some overlap in the broader topics. You go to space, you visit planets, but these similarities end up being fairly superficial when all of the decisions along the way are made for different designed goals. Target audience, SpaceX is targeted as a small set of challenge seekers. It's not for everyone by design. Space Age is targeted for all Factorio players with better approachability in mind. Game length, SpaceX is a long-form adventure designed for players to gradually uncover many interconnected challenges over 150 to 500 hours or more. Space Age challenges are more streamlined and self-contained for a faster pace of 60 to 100 hours, rough estimate. Complexity, SpaceX challenges ramp up to a very high difficulty toward the end. Some of the last challenges cannot be automated without a set of arithmetic combinators, so it's not expected that all players will be able to complete it. Space Age has a lot of different challenges, but they never get too extreme, and the usage of combinators is quite lightweight, so expect that most players will be able to complete it. Engine support. There are so many things that SpaceX just can't do because it's a mod. Space Age has very different capabilities because the game engine can be made to support it. Large parts of the expansion are focused on game mechanics that just aren't possible otherwise, so the gameplay will be unique and refreshing even if you're a SpaceX veteran. There are many differences that will become apparent when we look at individual features of the expansion in the upcoming Friday Facts. As always, let us know what you think on the user places, blah blah blah. So, in my day job, I have to build integrations with APIs from Fortune 500 companies that aren't even close to us well designed. Documented to the Factorio mod API. Go figure. Yeah, I mean that doesn't surprise me. I had some friends who worked in some of the financial services, and some of the see if I'm over. I mean the code is like ancient on some of the things we've talked about, and like languages that basically aren't even supported anymore. I think a lot of, well, it's not financial stuff, I suppose, it's really, but it's more, so like Cobalt and stuff like that, they're very old systems that, it's like finding people who know these languages and sort of how the things work. And so this isn't really APIs, but could be really quite a challenge. But yeah, it's sort of remarkable how performant it is as well, that people can get up to 10,000 sites a minute and it runs fine, I mean, it's just an enormous amount of stuff being managed all at the same time. So yeah, I did want to just one of the things I was going to do is if we look at the previous teases they've done on the expansion. Obviously, there was this one was the big one with not that with the alien Gribbly. So we have to assume, I think, that this is one of the obviously it's a what do you call it, concept piece of art, but this is going to be one of the enemy types. And you know, we've all speculated about these weird markings on its head and how it does what it does. It sounds like they're expanding how biters work in a sense, and that there'll be different types of aliens, which all makes sense. And it's this is a gas thing, and I don't know if I'm reading too much into it, but obviously, like Venus is a very sort of gaseous world, basically, as it's got a very thick atmosphere. So I don't know if the idea is that there are different ways of different forms of locomotion. I do remember speculating at the time that it seems very sort of wet, this beastie, because it's very dripping water. So it could also be that it lives in an ocean somewhere on one of the planets and comes out of the water. The other one that might be an interesting sort of tease is, for one thing, obviously on this ride effects, we were sort of wondering why the biters were there. And this sort of implies to me, I say, if it's meant as a tease, because these guys are different colour. That was one of the things. They're not quite the blue that is the biter blue, and that could have just been artistic choice. And this is just a way of presenting it in a cool way. But the other option, from what they're saying, is that perhaps this is like these are different. These are the variant biters on one of the planets, and they have a different way of attacking you, for example. And what you get, because I say probably reading way too much into it, but these are presents. So these could be the things where it's talking about the mechanics you get from different planets you go to. These are the results, basically. This is what you get out of the planets. And somebody commented on one of the video I did on this, that this could be a teleporter, which is not something I'd thought about. But if you're traveling between these planets and they're saying they don't want to make it quite as complicated as SpaceX, this really could be a transporter that just lets you move between your different planets. But it's interesting, we've now got liquid smelting is what everyone's implied from this, and that seems to tie up with different resources on different planets, maybe, and that's how you exploit that resource. Yeah, they also mention in this, don't they? There was one, I'm not sure if it's this one, but they do talk about no, because that one's about going expansion. Because there was one that was talking about modules. I don't think it was that, was it? No, that was just the numbers. But yeah, in SpaceX, do you have to launch a rocket to go to another surface? So you have. I've not played it. I've seen it played through. One of the things I was trying to do was build up the number of mods I played through. The overhaul mods that I played through, and I don't know whether I'll do SpaceX because it really is huge. It's like, as Erendor says, it's 500. I mean, that's 100. If you're doing it 150 hours, you've probably got like biters basically turned off type of thing. It's just enormous. It's loads and loads and loads of planets, not 4. And to get to those planets, you have to even discover them. You have to do scanning to find the planets, which I think you do with launching rockets, normal rockets. But then there's like different tiers of rocket, effectively, and you've got a rocket that is just like a standard type of rocket that you can use for cargo, and you can travel that rocket, and that's how you get to the other planet. It does also have space platforms, so this is what they're talking about here, that you can go to a space platform. It's not really intention, which it sounds like from this, or again, maybe I'm reading slightly too much into it, but it sounds like the rockets you launch to go to other platforms, you do from the space platforms in Space Age, whereas in SpaceX you can just, launch a rocket and go to the planet. But it then has, very similar to this idea, where you design a rocket basically, or you design a spaceship, and essentially you define using it's a wall basically, but you use a wall to define the edge of your spaceship, and then you put engines on it like this. You have to put lasers on the front. You've got shields and all sorts of ways of making power, like fusion power and all this sort of stuff to power your rockets. And they're more sort of controllable, as in you can tell them to go to a specific spaceport, essentially, and it sort of lands, in quotes, at the spaceport. It doesn't show you a lot of that stuff. The cargo rockets are more just like, as you'd expect, like just sort of effectively throwing stuff around. What it does have that's really cool is like orbital guns, so you can fire stuff at a different. I don't know if you can do across planets, but you can certainly do to the space platform, and you can just like launch stuff into space with these guns. Basically, it's not a very efficient way of doing it, as I understand it, but yeah, it's got like dozens of moons and planets and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, I heard that if you want to build big, you have to make a lot of turf to fill in the void. Yeah, the void is literally just a black, empty space, and so everything you build, it has like special versions of everything. Because if you notice, this is normal belt. There's no color difference here. So, I mean, it might be a different type of special belt, but in SpaceX it has space belts that work in space, which presumably have like, I don't know, suction cups on them so that stuff doesn't float away. But yeah, this is just normal belt, and this is just a normal assembler. This is just a normal, smelter, furnace, and obviously these are new, but these are normal turrets. This is normal ammo. So clearly, you don't have to do loads of insane upgrades to build spaceships. I'm assuming because of the way this is, if you look, these are classic, like when you lay down concrete, you lay down shapes like this, and you would put in a little bit of, concrete to put your inserter on, type of thing. So I think you can design this, and it's just inherently a spaceship, space platform. You don't have to define walls to it. It's just, that's how it works. So the most interesting thing to me is this looks like it's a mini rocket launcher, mini launch platform, and it's got a radar on it, and it's interesting. It's got two things that could be like silo type things. So I wonder if one's for coming in and one's for going out, maybe. So you can basically have resources being sent to and brought from platforms. But yeah, this to me looks like your control point. It's your sort of your bridge basically, and perhaps you build it by laying that on top, putting that on top of a platform that you built. But my assumption is you build this in space. You don't launch this from a planet, and there's normal rockets get you to the platform, and then from the platform you can send things around. It'd be cool if it had space elevators. I think that's probably the type of thing someone would do in a mod. Like the idea of being trash stuff by just throwing it into space instead of putting it in a box and shoot it. Yeah, it is interesting they do that, isn't it? They're sort of just lobbing the rubbish around. But the fact it just floats and this, I don't think you have to worry. I think these are shooting the asteroids in order to gather the resources. They're not doing it to protect this platform. So that's my assumption of like a lot of the simplification compared to SpaceX. But you don't have to worry too much about that. It'd be cool if there were space biters though, sort of floating around in the thing. But I say, I think they might have had to rein some of that in to make it completable. So yeah, that's it. I mean, it's obviously a fairly long one. I've been through, and I say if anyone's thoughts, more than happy to discuss as we go along. But we will switch over to the game, which is running in the background. So if anyone in particular has stuck around from the raids, I say welcome all who joined. was trying to read it through, but yeah, so I'm aware that quite a lot of you joined, and hello and welcome. I'm Trismegistus, so I'm a very long-term Factorio player, but I love all sorts of building management strategy type games, so I stream those. This is my aesthetic series, and what that means is I'm trying to build as much as I can in Factorio, given its diesel punk aesthetic. I'm trying to build aesthetic, so good looking or attractive looking builds. The one I worked on first, and the sort of best example, is the smelting. And this is a huge smelting array. It's not intended to be efficient, so I'm not trying to do 12 beacon furnaces or anything like that. The idea is I am using them, because it does do a lot of space saving. But the idea is to do something that looks like it would be maybe an actual factory, something like that, and to do with things like this. So nice designs in the concrete and what have you. It also I've made some decisions around. So, for example, this is a train. It's kind of inspired by those trains you get in Australia, where they're sort of half a continent long type trains. So it drops off oodles of ore, which it then processes round. This as sort of a workaround because there aren't balancers for 64 by 64. So it effectively uses a series of sort of 8x8 balancers to do the balancing. And then it just all sort of weaves around. And so the idea is to go for an aesthetic rather than any kind of space efficiency or resource maximization or anything like that. It's obviously we're in creative mode, so I can just build. And then I'll say you've got the resources coming out of here, and they all go through here, and they go onto a train. And obviously, because the ratio of resources to materials, processed materials, is 2:1, these trains there's none sat here, but these trains are half as long. Let's say they will eventually connect up to where they need, anywhere that needs copper. And so I'm trying to build walkways and paths and stuff like that to make it look attractive. This is probably the best build I've done, because I let myself have lots of space. There's also a boats version. I'm using the boats mod. There's loads of mods on this map, all minor mods. There's no overhauls. And this is a boats version. It's basically exactly the same smelting, but then it has harbours for the materials to be, in this case, dropped off. So this is where the boats would come in and drop all the resources off. I don't know where those boats are. I guess they're probably sat at the mines. Yeah, so this is the mining side. So they're all waiting to go because all of that's all filled up because it's not doing anything. But you can see I've got massive copper patches that I'm mining away. The boats come round and drop all their stuff up there, and then this is the boats pick up, because the intention is for this to become Science Island. And so sometimes I'll need to be dropping stuff off by boat, and then other builds I'll need to be dropping stuff off by train. So I've designed a sort of almost like it would actually have, it would have like what do you call it, gravel under the train. Warehouses? No, I'm not using warehouses in this. I have considered it, but no, I wasn't massively, because there is also that mod, isn't there, where you can build factories within factories, and I decided to go big and ugly, basically, or big and beautiful, I guess, rather than sort of put things into factories. No 64 by 64 balancers. Hold my beer. Oh, if you can build one, that would be amazing. But I say, I sort of, I just don't have the mental capability to build a balancer sort of thing. But I say, because it's 2 factors, so 2, 4, 8, binary. So basically, you can split it all up, and I don't think it looks too bad, but it is a bit sort of higgledy-piggledy. I did wonder about sort of compressing it down and having the materials all come together in the middle, and then so it'd be more like a sort of hourglass type shape. But yeah, so that's the boat side of things. I have also built. I've also planned out where everything's going to be. But this is the stone factory. As you can see, it's producing all sorts of coloured stone at small sorts of volumes. I'm keeping it going. Oh, I didn't realise I'd left them running. Okay. Let's get it to stop doing that. Although it's producing these, the idea would be... My original intention was to do it properly and like do it from, from the beginning and not use creative. Unfortunately, as you can see, the scale of this is bananas. This was my original base, and it was like 30 hours or something before I even, got to doing. As you can see, have I even launched a rocket? I don't think I even did. If I launched a rocket, I don't know where it is. No, so I kind of stopped short at that point, basically. So this is where the rocket would come in, and I had all these Spidertrons going, and I just thought to myself, this is silly. There's no... If the idea is to do it pretty builds, what I really need to do is just crack on and build it, because the millions of hours it's going to take to clear... As you can imagine, this was all full of biters. To clear that out is just not, not sensible. But yeah, so this would be the sort of actual rocket build. And the space science moving around. This is Beacon, because the idea is meant to be higher tech eventually. But as you can see, they've got the cardinal points, and the idea is that the different sciences come in, or materials for the sciences come in, because this is like the rocket stuff, so that will be feeding in directly. But you've got red, green, you've got gold, blue, military, purple. But yes, I've also then built, say, the stone factory. I really like these. I think these look awesome, especially on the map. They're not sensible and practical, but I think they just look really cool. But yeah, firing out the... And they say the idea was that if you were building this, you would need all of these coloured materials, so they're producing them, even though actually, we're not going to use this to build anything. And then you've got your bricks, which obviously you do need for sort of military science. We've then got... There should be steel here as well somewhere. Here we go. So this is the steel build. As you can see, I'm going for different designs each time. So these are the iron trains dropping off. So this iron smeltery is different in design to the other iron smeltery. It's more sort of a triangle. It almost looks like a spaceship, ironically, from what we've just been talking about. But this is the sort of iron build, iron smelting, and then you've got the 3 trains coming down here, and they all go down across the water. I'm using Bridges mod. And they come out here, and then you've got the 3 sides go into the different smelting, and that gets turned into steel. 192 splitters. Wow. That's nice. Thank you very much. So what I'm working on now, every time I play this, the thing that really pops out to me, or the thing that I realise, is that it's the biggest project you could possibly imagine. I'm just going on about SpaceX being 500 hours. I think I've already spent 500 hours on this. Because I've done a lot off stream as well, and it's just insane, the scale of it like this. And part of it is because I'm not really using modules and beacons as much as you could to reduce the size. It's a deliberate sort of choice, but it has the knock-on effect. Like these are, they've only got 3 beacon effects for each one, but I think it looks pretty cool. I might have to just connect some power things up. Thank you for the follow. No? What's that? Oh, yes, thank you for the follow, Toddy Master. And also, Bowmaster. Thank you very much for the follow as well. I didn't see that one. Apologies. But thank you very much for the follow. It's very much appreciated. I stream every weekend. Saturday is always Factorio. At the moment I'm doing Stardew Valleys on Sunday. But I'll be switching my schedule up. I'm going to a game conference called WASD in London in September. And I'll be starting an Angel playthrough on the Saturdays after that. And then probably try, what's it called? Tectonica, is it? The one that came into early access recently. Yes, this is actually, although it's the oil build, this is coal liquefaction. And I'm basically converting it all into petroleum, and then we'll be turning it into plastic. I've sized these. These are the number of machines I need in order to produce the volumes of plastic that I want. So basically, it's a case of making it all look pretty now. So we've got a coal patch here. Whether that's quite enough, I don't know. But, excuse me, I'm just going to work with it as is for now. I am going to connect up some power things. Where would be the best place to do that? If I go and just stick it in the bottom there. Right, because not a lot of this is properly connected. I have been trying to keep some consistent design things. So, for example, when I'm using a fence, because the idea is, if this was a real factory, you know, there would be protective things around a lot of machines. The engineer wouldn't just be able to run up to them because, you know, they're dangerous. And so I'm trying to use lots of hazard concrete to show things are dangerous, and or use fences to block them off. But say, like, one of the design ideas is that, you know, a fence has always got brick underneath it, and then wherever possible, if a path that the engineer runs down uses this, it's like clean grid concrete or something it's called. So I'm trying to keep those consistent, but make the builds different each time. And there's lots of, this is gravel, which I think is a really good, cool looking thing. The only problem with it is there's only three, well, it's four. There's obviously grey gravel, but there's like black, blue and orange are the only sort of alternate gravels. It's got Factorio on, so it's got loads of different concrete colours and all that sort of thing. And I need to remember what it was and what I was doing. So we need power. It's not connected. So yes, so that's the aesthetic Factorio series. The gigantic, unwieldy beast that it is. I'm alternating it with a series where I'm building blueprints. The first streaming series that I ever did was my first attempt at a mega base, and didn't really work. I went too big. It was like 5,000 that I started off with. It's just not very well done. So the sneaky idea, part of the things, I never used to have like standardized blueprints. I wouldn't. Why is that not connected? Nice. I'd always build fresh every time. One of the things that series sort of taught me is that that's not practical, because you just end up spending loads and loads of hours. If you're doing a mega base, that you need to have lots of standard ways of doing things, or things you can copy and paste, because you just spend days wasting your time effectively, when the difficult bit is at the other end. Right, so if we assume coal's coming in here, I'm just going to use a thingy, matter source thingy, to fire some coal in. So, because I want to check, I've put like water pumps on all of these, so we should. They won't kick in because there's no heavy oil to kickstart them. I'd have to attach that. I have been wondering, I think I probably need like a little Kickstarter area for it, because as I say, I'm trying to do it as if almost like role playing it, where you know the engineer is actually building these things rather than just checking they got steam in all the pipes. No, why is that not connected? Ah, underground is missing. Yep, okay. And is coal getting all the way to the end? Yes. Cool. So at least now it's, quote, functional. Cool. Okay. Now, this was my attempt to do, like, sorting the fluids out. So we need to power this up and check whether this is connected, but we need to kickstart the oil first. How would I do that? So that's the heavy coming out, isn't it? And that's the heavy coming out there. So how would the engineer start that? Because it's fine here, but in the middle there's no access, so bit loath to connect them all to the same, connect them all together. That's the heavy coming out of there, isn't it? Let's just test the bottom one to start with. So if I get a fluid source, where's fluid source thing? Some. Oh, did I get the wrong one? Fluid source. Oh, no recipe available. Huh. Have I not got the... Oh, it's not. It keeps turning them off. I don't know why. It's some weird... I'm getting a lot... I do get a lot of game conflicts. It's sort of... Why this camera is not... Still not right. I got the... there's so many mods on. I think they sort of, argue with each other. And I can never remember where the recipes are to turn them on. I'm sure it's in personal cheat mode. Not God mode, is it? Is it this one? Creative tool recipes. Yeah, there we go. Why did the other one work? And that one didn't. So, why have you not got heavy oil? Oh, because that's the wrong end, isn't it? And there's no power with that pump. Okay. So, if I put power lines there and there, connects both of them. Can I... It's too far away, isn't it? That's annoying. Maybe if it was there. Where do I put them on this end? I put them in line with the coal belt. On the inside or the outside? Inside. Right. So if we disconnect that, it's underneath. So it's now absolutely chock-a-block with heavy. So, oh, this isn't connected. Okay. not very attractive, is it? So I can connect them across there. Do the same at the other end. Right. Oh, this is the other thing. The autosave takes ages because the map is so big. Let's just put those there for the time being, but not a massive fan of that. Wonder if maybe instead I should have a power system along the bottom. You know, some power poles running. Connecting. So say I still like this idea of having a sort of separate Kickstarter. I just don't know how I connect it up to everything. There is a lot of like huge rejigging in this series, and I think maybe I need a separate like column that is the Kickstarter oil provision, and we could connect that over to. Oh, I mean these are the oil builds basically. Just to note, these are the oil processing, and the idea is it comes in from some oil tankers. Which are using the boats mod. Boats mod is amazing. If you've never tried the boats mod, give it a go. It's really fun. But these are on land, those ones obviously. But it has oil rigs, which are like, as it says there, shows there, self-powered basically. So they can, they don't need a power pole connected to them. And you can just have the boats pull up and sort of fill up. They hold a gigantic amount of oil. They're like something like 50 chain carriages or something. But they're really slow. Is the sort of trade-off. Where were we? We were seeing whether this works, and it does appear to, because there is now light oil being cracked, I think. Okay, so we should have light oil in both of these. That's not got anything in it, has it? Why hasn't the bottom one? Oh, because it's a separate system. Okay. Yeah, I think I need a separate. I think I need to move this over basically. So let's see if we can do that. If we go there, that, all that. There's a blueprint, and then. All of that. That in is a blueprint. That's the nice way of playing it right now. Missing a pipe in the second heavy to light cracking plant. Probably not. But welcome to the chat, by the way, Night Vision 520. Thank you for the comment. We'll have a check in a moment. It's probably just an error rather than intentional. But we shall see. I think I'm going to have to landfill those holes, basically. So it doesn't go wonky. Ideally, I'd be keeping the alien terrains one. But these are all buried under concrete anyway, so this is because it will likely go a bit wonky. But what we can do is put it on. Which one is it? I hope when they're talking about the blueprint improvements, working with bigger blueprints is part of what they're doing. Because they're an absolute pain in the bum, big blueprints. So if we put that on once, but then we move it over, and it's put the blowing thing in again, hasn't it? Put the landfill back in. The water back in. And we do it again. Apologies for the noise. It's an unavoidable thing of this. Because you're laying down like a million bits of stuff and it plays the entire noise thing. Right, so if I just fill that in again. This is why I fill it in, because it goes a bit wobbly. And then when I look at that pipe, so much you're talking about how well engineered Factorio is. One of the things I often think about with this game is that it's sort of, oh, missed one up there. There's an element to it where it is almost programming in and of itself. There's a, where's the missed one? Oh, it's this, because it's and what you build always ends up looking like a circuit board and stuff like that. So it's a weirdly sort of why is that different? I think I'm going to delete. And then put it in again. Hopefully I can marry it up. Right, and now if we put the... These are all where I've been working through things. Put the machines in. So, boom. Right, so there was a pipe missing. I wonder if I'll be able to work out where that is. So, well, actually, let's just build what I was thinking of building. And we can go from there. Yeah, I like this idea of having a separate sort of power connector system on the bottom. I'll just stick in the power parcel for the time being. It can also connect to these, I think, maybe, like that. So I don't have to do these bridging connectors. Yeah, we'll come back and do that later. But yes, so the idea here was that this would act as the sort of charging system. What does that mean? That means we need a separate build on the bottom here. That is pipes. How many have I got? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So, would I be able to fit 8 sets of pipes in here? No, I don't have to, but 6, 7. Dang, I should have checked that properly, because we could have had 8. The heavy oil pipe connecting each chemical plant. Ah, you're right. Yeah, the underground's missing, isn't it? Yeah, that's a good spot. That is a good spot. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm just missing all of them. So yeah, no, just a mistake. There's a tendency, one of the things I'm trying to fight against with this whole series is the whole thing of like compact builds, because when you're building them, you know, particularly when you're doing, you know, beacons around everything, you want everything to be quite close together. And so having fewer beacons deliberately is trying to get away from that, but I just end up doing it anyway, and everything ends up sort of fairly crammed in and, you know, really tight. So it sort of ends up with not the most attractive results. So it does also then mean I sort of end up. It would be better if they were there. No, wouldn't it? Moving everything over all the time. You know, 2 tiles this way and 2 tiles that way. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we could have 4 instead. Would that work out if it was like that? Or can I have 2 and 2? Oops. And the idea is that would then come from, you know, from here sort of thing, just as a pipe moving across, because it's a temporary solution. But I won't do that side of it. Instead, we will put on some fluid sources. Okay. Think about how they would connect. So this would be here, wouldn't it? And if I'm doing 4, we want to connect up several in one thing. So how many is there? Oops. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So it's even on each side. So if we were to do something like that, maybe. Usually looks higher up, so there. This one work in between. So if we go up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then these 2 go up. This as well. Because if I got 4, I need to connect 4 up, don't I? So is that's too far, isn't it? Nuts. Nuts. Because if I'm trying to there. Okay, so in that case we will have several. That maybe. And then we put in. Oh, that connects them then, doesn't it? Then? Unless that reaches over, does it? Oh, it does. Perfect. Okay, so then we have exactly the same thing. Let's just get rid of all that rubbish. Exactly the same thing there. Bang. Then this pipe ends, so it doesn't go any further than that. What I really want is like a logic thing on it, I think, just to be able to nominally control it. Obviously, in reality, it's not going to work, as it were, but you're not going to do anything. But you'd imagine that being how it was done. How am I going to copy this in? So if I do that, and then if I cut that over to there, get rid of that. And then that does that one as well. Why is that not reaching? Oh no. Oh, it's too far away, isn't it? Why does it reach there then? Oh. Oh, of course, because that's that. It's not. So it needs to be that. Okay. There we go. And is that 4? Yes, that's 4. So we can chop that off. And then if we copy this again. So apologies for the really loud bangs. It's just it's laying down all of the pipe at once, basically. Something like that, maybe? And then do that one again. Boop. Cut that off. Got 2 left? We got 2 left. Yeah. Don't know why I did it like that. That was dumb. Guess what I should actually do is cut and paste that over. And copy that one. Cool. Okay. So let's sort the power side of things out, I think. I think we'll put in... So this would have pumps on it. Because why not? And then we'll set the power pole there. Which doesn't connect to anything because reasons. This needs... break a little bit. No. Not going to worry too much about sort of how far down that goes. That's fine. These would be, in reality, pipes going across. Oh, it connects again, doesn't it? Guess I could set the pumps, maybe? This thing. Bit higgledy-piggledy, but it's fine. Okay, so let's put this over here as well. So, these are where our cheaty bits are. And quite like this power pole being there. Is that even on the other side? So it's... yeah, it's about the same. So, what we'll do is copy this. Yeah, so I was discussing with a friend, sort of, it's just sort of amazing, this game, because, and I think a big part of it is that the devs play it, you know, and enjoy playing it. It's like I said in the Friday Facts, where it's like, you know, the tweaking way of doing that they were doing was basically, how far down could that go? So it could go that way. It was playing the game through and deciding whether they liked it or not, and what other things they would need adding in, you know, to make the game more enjoyable, or to make it quicker, or, you know, however you want to sort of phrase it. And that actually seems to be fairly sort of rare. Right, so that's too far away, isn't it? So how close would that need to be to connect? There. Okay. Could always be connected like that, I guess, couldn't it? If this is at the end. Where would be good places for these? Maybe where the gates are? I've not got that in line, have I? In fact, I've not got that in line either. There. Cool. Now, connecting across. Yeah. So why isn't this all kicked in? What have I messed up there? What I've messed up is that we need connecting pipes across to that. What the heck is that meant to be? Because that's right in the way. That will be the light oil coming from the... Oh dear. And then I've got petroleum as well. That's not going to work at all, is it? It's not going to work at all. Which idiot designed this, eh? Which idiot? So, in that case, I have to ruin my nice design. Well, that didn't work either, because that's too far down, isn't it? It's going to have to be, oops, inside, like that. Because that can just go, and then that's just in parallel with it, maybe? Problem is going to be connecting across, I think. We shall see how badly that goes. Why did I put that? This is what we actually want to do. Is make sure. Yeah, it needs to be there. And then, well, it could be there. No, there. I think we're constrained by that one, aren't we? So maybe. Well, actually, if I can I can get rid of that unnecessary pipe. That's not the most attractive of things, but it is what it is, I guess. Okay. So if it's in line with the coal there, can I make it in line with the coal here? Except that that's too far for that one. Okay. Now, what does that end up looking like? So this ends up doing the same thing. Why are those next to it and those not? That's because I put that in the wrong place. There we go. So, we need to rework these bits, don't we, on all of it. Like that. I suppose that's just flip round, is it? It is. But it's too far. Bum. Bum bum bum. It is too far, my friend. Too far. Too far. Too far by how long? 2 tiles, so it's not even just one. Okay. Okay. Not quite sure how I get around that. Because that light is as far as it go. There. That doesn't give me the room to put it in, does it? Two, three. I think I'm going to have to make this wider. Because then I'd be able to put pipes down the middle, around the outside of those. That's very annoying. Okay. So we need it to be 2 tiles wider. Because then these can go in here, basically. Down the middle. Yep, okay. Just trying to think if there's any... I mean, yeah, could go snaking pipes around and, you know, a couple of dog leg in this. Let's just make it bigger. Okay, so we can get rid of some of these pieces. I think. Heckins is that one? Oh, that one's ancient. That. Oh. Right. Oops. All of that. It's your classic. Your classic needs to be 2 tiles over, or 1 tile, whichever you regard as the classic. And then we want to cut and paste this as well. So, yeah, pop that there, and then we fill this again. Again. So it doesn't go too wonky. Or at least we know the vector of the wonkiness. Go. Actually, people are looking forward to that expansion. I did get a couple of comments on one of my previous videos that people were like, doesn't need an expansion, or it's already too expensive and things like that. But from my point of view, having had literally thousands of hours of gameplay out of the... That was the old one, wasn't it? Out of it. Even if they end up charging sort of full price again, it's like... is that the one? It's the one, isn't it? Yeah, to me it's like some of the greatest value I've had out of a video game in forever. Auto save. So actually I should just be able to paste this first. We have a little bit of water at the top now. Where is that? UAS there. I'll try and stand out the way so it's not quite as loud. So it needed to be 1, 2 tiles further over. And then put that where? There? There. There. Okay. Hopefully that's right. We'll have to see. We will have to see. But we need to take this and what? I guess it's just that it wants to be in the middle, doesn't it? Rather than on one side. Like that, I think. So the box becomes more like that, basically. And if I use a thing, get rid of fence. No, that's the wrong thing. Take all of that fence out. And then we, oops, didn't do that. It's that one. Let's see if I can, no. Yeah, that's not as loud. Okay. I haven't got any fences, have I, on this? Anyway. I think I have discovered with this, there's some bits of it I can leave, but it's usually best to try and do all of the prettification and stuff while you're doing it, because coming back and discovering that you can't quite fit the fences in or something like that is kind of a bit soul destroying, actually, because it's sort of like, right, well, I spent 50 hours designing and tweaking and fiddling about with it, and then Whoops, it didn't fit, so you got to rebuild it all. Right, get this in here. And then stick there. That. Okay, so that's that part of it done. Now, what we need to do then is look at this end, and what we're talking about doing is moving these to the side so that these can fit between them. And then these go there and there. And these go, presumably it's the top end. So now this, hopefully get replaced. We shall see. Those. Oh. Out. Yeah. Let's do the bottom part first. And then let's discover the top part doesn't quite work. Didn't connect to the bottom. And you always got to make sure your bottom is connected. Right. Then need, well those connect, so that's a starting point. Then need is these. I know that one's that one, so this can. Just do that. Okay. So. What's the top? Put that in. One. That in. One. Is that right? Because it should be feeding 4. Yeah, so do that, and then do that, and do that. It stops. And this one. Those two. So this one should stop then. Except that's not connected to anything because I've moved it over. So there's nothing in these pipes. Why not? Yes, because they're not connected to anything. Oh, that would need to be there then. So we need power. Are these all? These must all be identical. Surely, surely. Okay. And then how are we connecting the power on this? It's at the other end, isn't it? Yeah, this one. So, am I putting a walkway in here? Up there? Is it a single tile? What have I done on this end? Yeah, single tile. Okay. And then presumably some sort of fence. Okay, and then they need. What's that? They need power. So let's copy that. So there's no flashing and blinking lights. But equally, some of these pipes don't have anything in them. Which suggests things have not worked properly. Why are you not running? Because you don't have steam. Okay, why do you not have steam? Oh, because I forgot to put... Huh. I guess the one I copied didn't have pumps on. Okay. At some point. Oh, I need to do it as... No, I need to do it as a proper blueprint, don't I? The tiles. Bin these ones off. So I need to open that. Wait, what? Oh, it won't have water tiles on it, will it? Anyway. Because there are no water tiles. I have to put those in. Oh, oh. Which idiot designed this, eh? Right, where would they need to be? They would need to be there. I bet at some point it did have, you know, I copied it up properly and did all the pumps and etceteras. And then I was just like, oh, I'll move it one tile over. Wait. Is that a pen? Yeah, that's a pen. So... pump. Cool. Okay, so now when I do tiles, we can go create blueprint, plop this in, double plop, get the water in. Cool. And then fill it in. got out. I mean, that's what I decided to do. Okay, and then gravel. Cover it over. Haven't been able to properly catch up with everything from Gamescom. Been struggling to sleep this last week, so I've not watched a lot of the coverage, but I know that Nightingale's been properly announced. Sort of a game I'm really looking forward to. It's like a crafting thing, but one of the trailers has got like blimps in it, you know, like dirigibles. The scale of it seems enormous. Right, so yeah, I'm going to try and catch up. It's bank holiday weekend in the UK, so seem to all have Steam in them. From what I can tell, just a quick inspection. That one isn't. What's going on there? Oh, it's just because the light's backed up, which you wouldn't be surprised by. Wait, why have I got the heavy poking out the end? Should be the light. Is that max? Yeah, it's maximum extent. Should be the light poking at the end. Heavy. Right. Okay. And then I guess we have, well, it now needs to go to light cracking, which is this up here. Yeah. Hopefully it's the right length. Or nearest damn it. Because we have got a bit poking out the end here where I ended up removing some extraneous machines. I mean, it looks about the right size. Because it's all been converted to petroleum basically, because it's feeding into a plastic build. I'm not 100% sure where the plastic build is going to be. I guess I could maybe try and see how many lanes of coal in terms of express belts. So 12 lanes, and it's spread across 16, isn't it? So 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so it's 2 lots of 8. So there would be sort of equivalent of 5 belts worth of coal. How much does this demand? It's way more than that, I think. Oh no! Huh. How would that work then? I'm just thinking that the excess coal. I mean, are these? What are these? Are these 6? Oh, so that is 12 belts worth of coal, isn't it? Which is what it needs. We could have the coal going along here, couldn't we? The rest of it, as it were. So these could be, 8 to 8 balancers. And then just 5 lanes of coal go this way. And it also gives me a reason for having this. We could work it around with that. Unfortunately, we're going to bang into the railway track, which is a bit annoying. Well, the railway doesn't have to be there. What even is that? Oh, that's me just keeping builds. The railway really doesn't have to be there. Could easily move all the way down. It's just a bit of a pain in the bum to move it. Oh, here's that. It's some of the random trains that I was messing about testing stuff with. Yeah, I think I'll have to do that. And so if I move all of this down a bit, just sort of temporarily. To there, so just sort of put over that for me. Ice blade, not fluttery. Oh, there you go. Good old ice blade, not fluttery. I know it well. Sounds like the fabric of reality tearing. It's a rather extreme noise. I just think because what we could do is we got the plastic loader here, wherever, and it could all come out of here. I think that this, oh, that's a point. It's going that way, isn't it? But it doesn't have to. I have, oh no, I pumped it that way. So actually the plastic build does need to be on this side. Well, it's not too much of a problem. I mean, I could have the train going. Yeah. Well, it could be wherever. It could be here, the actual loading point. I'm likely to need to put it on a boat anyway, so that's probably going to be in. Yeah, there we go. Boat thing required up there anyway. Okay, so let's see if we can get these lined up in some way or description. So this, where would this be? Ideally, sort of maybe there-ish somewhere, possibly maybe. Maybe. Let's put it there for the time being. So, pokes out over the end. Okay. I mean, I've got a 3-tile walkway here. Rather than a 1-tile. Okay, let's see what it looks like with some fencing there. And then where would the gate be? There. Oh no, it'd actually be maybe there. Maybe one there. The end. Okay. And I'm not actually sure. I mean, how many pipes are... Well, I don't know. It's always difficult to tell with fluids and the rate calculators, but we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 pipes of light oil coming out. And wanting to go in here, in theory. Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. So it's not very well balanced, is it, anyway? So really we want maybe 8 columns with these combining together. Or 8 rows rather, they're not columns, are they? So how would that work maths wise? How many have we got? We've got 174 machines. 174 machines, which I'm currently dividing over 6 rows. So there are 29 machines per row. If we wanted something like 174 divided by 8, 21.75. So 22 machines over 8 rows is 176. So it's only a slight overdue. Okay. But that means I've forgotten how many per row. So we want 22 machines per row. Okay. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Well, let's just do it this way. 22 would be that one. So from here on up, would be defunct. Instead, we take that. Do we take that? Let's take that. And do one. Oops. 22, and then we just check it. Got that rolling, didn't I? Because it's already got 2. 176, there we go. So it's like that. It's in quotes, too small, but it's not too small. Because we can sort of break it in half, maybe, and have 2 sort of chunks. Because it'd be quite nice if there was a pathway up there, for example. Also gives us a bit of room to play with pipe manipulation. So let's see if we can get that to work. So if these were moved over, for example, to here, well, we could always, in fact, maybe this area becomes empty effectively. So if that was the case, if it was approximately, let's give it a bit of room for pipes and line these up with those. And if I was cutting off there, for example, it'd be nice if it was halfway, wouldn't it? Because we've got 22, so it would be nice if it was 11. So that one. Was lined up with there, maybe? Up that slightly over. Okay. Starting to look like a possible formulation of a maybe. I mean, we can do this exact arrangement again. So, how does that look? That looks like a water pump. So, we need water to be there and there. With a water pump there. And it's sat on brick. No, isn't it sat on concrete? All the way over? Yeah, all the way over. So all of that is on concrete. And we've got How many tiles? Just the one tile past the thing. The actual hole, as it were, the well. And we've got 2 tiles of gravel. And then the under thingy. Under brick. Let's put the under brick on. The foundations, really. I think is how I've been thinking of it. So this all needs to move 1 tile up, doesn't it? So rather than there, it's to be. I think, because then that becomes that. That looks quite cool. I quite like that. The sort of, what's that, hexagon, is it? I'm not going to use it here because I want to keep the symmetry, but I'll have to think about using that somewhere. I quite like that. I wonder, would it actually... Oh, it will let me put multiple pumps in. There's a weird thing I think I've discovered before, that if you put offshore pumps like close to each other, they don't work at 100%. There's like no reason. They just sort of... because they're sort of cannibalizing the same water. And I think it's like trapped in the code. It's not like a deliberate thing. In that, almost like the water tile is sort of being asked to do 2 things at once. So it does half, even though there's no actual limit on the amount of water that it can supply. Just the way the code sort of checks it. It's my sort of instinctive thing of I have no idea if that's actually the case. We've actually got 2 tiles of gravel, haven't we? Not 1. On here. Does that matter? Don't think I've done that. I've not got any gravel. The gravel is just spacer. Okay. Because to make these line up properly. That's fine then. We don't need 2 if we don't have to have 2. How many are there here? 22. Yeah, 2 blocks of 11 is the best maths really then, isn't it? Because we'd need like 24 to do 3 blocks. Would that matter? I know I've not been optimising the builds. I'm just wondering if we maybe have a block of 8. And then another block of 8 and another block of 8. That might work a bit better. In terms of laying it out. So 8 to there. So they're up. Now, these do need to move up. I think. How have I back-to-backed them? Back-to-back in there has got gaps in. And it has there as well. Okay. Yeah, okay. So, move it up. Well, I don't know what it'll be. Let's put that, let's design this sort of first. So we've got electric machine, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the electric machine. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So it goes up to there, say. Oh, actually, does that match up perfectly with that door point? So if that was actually a through line, would that work? So then we have the fence there. So Just a little corridor to run up, basically, effectively. And that would be gravel. So that should really be... I could have double gravel. Double gravel, double gravel. Potentially make this wider, or is that... No, that's my maximum pipe extent, isn't it? Okay. And then we want a hole. Put water. Like that. Like that. Might have to do something interesting with the pipes and the throughputs and the flow, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Thinking we might have to have pipes going along there so that we can connect them over. Let's see. Let us see. So then, I guess that fence is there, isn't it? And then your under brick and your gravel, which are double-sided. Double gravel. Double gravel. What am I looking for? The fence again. That. Yeah, brick underneath. It's very bland, this one, isn't it? I should really think about putting some coloured concrete on as well, but yeah, focusing more on getting it done. And then thinking that does that reach? Does just about. So the idea I'm thinking is that we combine that into one. Is that right? Because then we would have. So we've got 8, 8, 8, and 8. It's got 3, 8. Maths, help me, maths. So 3 times 8 is 24. And then 3 of those? I seem to have 4. 1, 2, 3. What? Why is that only 96? Don't we need 176? Oh, because this is 16, it's not 8. That's 192. Okay. Oh yeah, because I've increased it to 9. It shouldn't. It's actually should be 22, not 24. Okay. But what I'm saying is, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What? 2, 4, 6, 8, which is 16 pipes. And I'm going to have 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, that's rubbish. That didn't work out. 1, 2, 3. So it's 4. 4 times 3 is 12, isn't it? Yeah. Bum. Also, do these even like so if this was connecting across there, perhaps that'd be 2 of them. No, so they don't even tile properly. Because that was poking out the edge. However, if I chop this down to a one laner, would it work then? Oops. So if this was like that. Oh, it wouldn't work as a one laner, but it would be exactly the right width. Okay. That's a bit of a weird coincidence. I might have to do this in the most horrendous way possible. If I turn those round, they don't work, do they? Let's do it with them. So if I turn this round, can I put a little water feature here? No, because that doesn't have enough room. You have to go on the outside, or completely redesign it in a different way. Okay. What I'm thinking is we have like a row of pipes here. Well, I'm actually wondering if maybe have almost like a fluid balancing thing going on. You know, with a load of tanks. Pushing it out into the right volume. I mean, it'd be UPS horrible, but I don't care about UPS in this. He says, and then the game becomes unplayable. Bit unfortunate that doesn't line up. Not far off though. And then this could just be the top end, basically. Where would that actually? That should be there, really, shouldn't it? Yeah, because it's right on the edge of the fence. And I suppose I have added two gravels in, haven't I? There. Double gravel. Because that would give me what be 1, 2, 3, 4. I could double gravel it there. And then that'd make that 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay, so that's what we'll do. We'll move this one over. Which is a bit rubbish for this fence, because it's not going to be quite where it should be, but it is what it is. So that'll be there. That's the brick. That's the gravel. This all moves tile over. I say it's a bit unfortunate that doesn't line up, but oh well. Oh, but it doesn't line up because that's a double gravel there. So there should be one tile between those. So this should be there. And then this would be here. So this would move over. That. And then... Oh, actually that was wrong. It needed to be there. Because that then gives one tile there. And then on this side we could either have it there, or, so that it lines up properly, have it there with the double gravel. Well, I could take the gate out, and it's just a contained unit, and then this is the access point, wherever I want to put the access point, basically. So, you know, it could be in the middle, because it's 2, 4, 6, 8, so you're there. 2, 4, there. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. This middle here as well, maybe? Move so quickly, I can't get out the door. I'm past it each time. Right. So that up there. Actually, let's not seal that off. That. Stone brick under that one. There. Oh, we should have stone brick underneath that. Yep. Chunk of concrete. What's the time? Why doesn't that match? I never put refined concrete under these, you know. Right. Okay. It does connect. Okay. Okay. So, there. Wait, I put it on the inner side on that one, haven't I? I'll put it on the outer side on this. It should be there. Oops. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, as I say, the tricky bit here is going to be the volume of fluid being sent all over the place, basically. It get a little tricky to manage it properly. I sort of don't care if I manage it properly or not in this particular game. I mean, I want all the machines to function and stuff. It's just that fussed if it's inefficient or yeah, as I say, I may need to be pushing it into the middle rather than oops. Let's just flip that round and do it again. Is that right? Yeah. Oh, it depends. Am I going opposite? So what have I done on these? Oh yeah, I've offset them, haven't I? Because that would give me a bit of wiggle room here. I think I might just punt those over one time. Oh. One. Oh, yeah, so these can be a bit more squished right up against the fence. But anyway, what was I doing? I was... Where's me? There it is. Oh, well, those are... Yeah, well, let's just put them in for now. I can work out. Messed this up completely, didn't I? These need to be regular pipes. Yes, so. So that's one. And then two. And this would be three. So that's where it starts to get too far over. This is four. Five. Six. Seven. Eight. Right, well, that's along the bottom. Okay. Or the top. Yeah, it used to be the top, doesn't it? Yeah. So then we need one. Is that about the middle? Yeah, not far off. So this is the unit. Is it right? Right? So if that's repeating. Yeah, that works. So just copy this one down. And that shows me when the undergrounds need to be. Which one? Oops. And up there. Well, does that connect? Yes. Mm. Okay, if I put fluid voids on all of these, they should... Well, they won't, will they? Because they'll just back up with petroleum. But yeah. Is that the same distance? I don't think it's going to be, is it? No. Because I've made this ever so slightly thinner by a couple of tiles of gravel, which is fine. So that's like the maximum extent, isn't it? So I don't know. Looks roughly even. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So I then have, say, some sort of splitting mechanism is needed because we've got 3, and then we would have that 1, 2, 3 more times, so it's 4 sets, but I've got 8 pipes. I mean, I could... Yeah, that would... Well, it would sort of work. Would it work? Distance there isn't right to do it. Because this one could be shared and the fluid could come in both directions. So in other words, these aren't actually connected necessarily. And this connects over here. Oh, I've not put these. I've still got it in there. Okay. So that needs connected. Well, actually, I could do it on that side. No. Yeah. Not 100% sure I've done what I've done there, but I think it's right. But 1, 2, 3, 4 machines. So we need to get rid of that and that. And then how does this all work? So let's just put the gates in. Well, yeah, that would work. And then we want stone brick underneath. Oh no, that doesn't. Because I think I've got too many pipes again at once, so maybe it's there. So this is the light coming down here. How many light am I going to end up? 1, 2. Well, that's 1, 2. Then it'd be like 3. Whoops. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that worked. Oh, I better leave this here. So something daft with the numbers in the end. So we probably want 2 sets of pipes. 4 sets of pipes, sorry. No, 2 sets. Because how many have we got here on the end again? So we've got 8. 1, 2, 6. So yeah, it's 2 sets of pipes. So it's all very grey, this. So oops, a bit more colour. That's way too big. A bit more colour on it then. Going to come back to that. So that is going to loop round and sort of feed into that half. So this goes all the way up here. And that's that one. And then the next one. Or actually it'd be better if the... Yeah. Top one went all the way. It's this bottom one. Wait, I've already kind of done that there, haven't I? Why I ended up with a different solution? Because I got pipes poking out the end, haven't I? Got the petroleum on that side, and I don't need it on this side. It's not what's coming out on this side. So that's the light going in. Up there. That. And then there's this just a big old strip of gravel, maybe? Maybe. It's a possibility. It's into life. So that's... I'm just wondering if I do the same thing again, where this is like... It's not actually a gate there. I could have, because I got 4, haven't I? So actually this could be... like mirrored. So... maybe? I'll have to see if I can get that to work. So we would actually have 4 here. And yeah, we're going to need an extra gravel for the bend. So that goes to there, that goes to there. Does that look better or that? Oh, that's better, isn't it? And these ones go up, basically. For the next set. Just run this all the way over. Yeah. So, can I get this to be a nice even distance across? So we've got, how many tiles here? We've got the fence itself, then 1, 2, 3. Fence itself, and then we've got 1, 2, 3. So it'd be there. Fence itself, 1, 2. So it reaches on that side. Okay. I'm assuming that's the middle point. So, if it's the midpoint, why have they not ended up in the same place? I think I've confused myself. 1, 2, 3. Doesn't take a lot. So, if you were 2 tiles on that side, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe we make it. Wasn't there? It's there. There. 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. 6. Okay. Yeah. And then this would be when 1, 2, 6. Seems to be uneven in a way I can't get my head around. Oh, it's because this is 2 and this is 1. Yeah, so it's never going to add up the same on each side. 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 6, yeah. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Flip it round. Not the same, is it? Because that one is shorter. Five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Looks really weird, that, but also looks even. I don't know how to express that. So this would be different anyway, wouldn't it? Because the tiles aren't the same. That's annoying. Because that's 1, 2, 3. So that's 1, 1, 2, 3. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know what I've done there. It's confused the heck out of me. One, two. It looks vaguely right. Let's just leave it like that. This one goes anyway, because it's doing that. As it's connecting to the next set. And then, should we just take that? Flip it. And Robert's your father's brother. I know what's wrong. Or what's partly wrong. This shouldn't be here. That should be there. So this is one tile in, not 3 tiles in. See, this is the problem with the aesthetic series. I get carried away with the most pointless things you can imagine. Right. Yeah. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so if we move this 2 up, and this 2 up. Wait, what did I do there? Oh, I've done it again. Confused about myself. So that's equal there. That's equal there. Why am I bothering this? I just got obsessed with something that really doesn't need to be obsessed over. So instead of that, we move that one that way. No. Yeah, and that's a short connection. And we can put a gate in there. What am I doing? Might have to think about how I do the read-throughs. Might have to do them like separate. I've found it before. 3 hours is kind of my limit with streaming. Especially because I tend to chat a lot. Or just, talk through what I'm doing, basically. It's just a lot of talking. If I just plop that save there, move that one up. Imagine it won't fit here either. Yeah, I like to natter away. It's part of why I started streaming, because people told me I would talk to myself when they were playing during COVID. Huh? Huh? Wait. Did I must have cut and pasted. Oh, it's wrong anyway. Got the wrong one. It's not that one. That one? Yeah, that one. Brain will start working again at some point. But yeah, so it's partly because, continuously going for 3.5 hours is just ever so slightly too much for me. Well, too much for me to remain coherent anyway. What coherence, you ask? Right. I don't know that these are in exactly the right position, but I've accidentally joined the pipes there. I'm not sure I'm not sure it's the same connection though, so it might be okay. But we'll have to copy and paste it in first. No. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. So it'd be this one. One, two. So it's there. Is that correct? Or do I want to rotate it, you see? I can't rotate it because of how I've done the thing. The scaling, so it would have to be in exactly the same position. Excuse me. Yeah, I have to work out where the pipes need to go at the moment. No. Got to put this in. Okay. Now what? So this is the light. Oh, so it is in exactly the same position, isn't it? Just on the other side. So about on this side here. Not ideal. Could do. Could I? And I don't really reach. So I could do it onto that one. Except that's right in the way. Oh, I'll just leave it. Doesn't matter. So I'm not actually fussed about UPSs and all that sort of stuff. Let's fill all this in. Can we just copy and paste the whole thing? Can I copy and paste the whole thing? Oh, for Pete's sake. And do the same correction. So it connects there. There. And then we want this entire thing In which case, we might as well fill the grabble in. Oops.
Chug, 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 chug. Let's go!
What
It's time to party!
I have absolutely no idea what I hit then. I don't know if that came through or not. I think I hit something on my keyboard that's kicked off a video. I got YouTube open in the background. Because I think that was a Satisfactory live stream. Probably didn't come through because it's only grabbing the game audio. But it's really random. Okay. So I'm wondering about power here because I need to get power to these. I could just put it across here, couldn't I? Like that. Connect it there. Yeah, let's go with that. Oops. Yeah. Oh. Right. So, we're going to need access to that at some point, but do that later. I can therefore copy, I think. Let's switch off this side. Oops. Okay, so let's do the pokey out pipes here. And then with this whole shebang, except that I've not got the pokey out pipes in the right place. So now let's copy this whole shebang. Except we want the floor as well. Yep. Tiles. Cool. And wait. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Why is that like wrong? Because come on, right out the door, but don't run past it. There we go. Why is that not aligned properly? Oh, because it wasn't aligned here, and I've accidentally copied that as well. Okay, never mind. We'll have to fix that then. But yeah, I need to pop this down again so that the no. Oh dear, that might have been catastrophic. No, seems okay. Right, but this shouldn't be connected to those. It should be connected to them. And of course that one at the top there doesn't reach. And we need to go this there. Why did you lot not kick in? Ah, because that's too far. Have we got the same problem here? So that is too far. Which I fixed on one, I did on one side, didn't I? Yeah, so I put that on there, but I didn't put it on here. So what we need is short auto save. And then which would it be? It would be here. And here. And then wait. There. And it's already done. So that should be as well. There. And there. Cracking. I'm guessing the petroleum doesn't reach across either, does it? No. So that needs to be where? No. There. There. Some top. Some top. Top. Bottom. Top. Bottom. Bottom. Top. Bottom. Okay. Wowza. So we've ended up crashing into the other build. Am I going to have to move this all down? Dear, oh dear. How many pipes of petroleum have I got coming out of here? We've got 1, 2, 3. Well, just count it. So 8 there. And 8 there. Okay. There's no way they're even amounts of flow, are they? I wonder if I could get it to broadly calculate it for me. So in terms of items per second, 42.6 a second. Did I connect them together though? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Because I looped it round. So it's actually double that. So it's that 85.2. And then out of one of these, which is one side, 600. Okay. 85. What's 85.2 times 1, 2, 8? 85.2. 681. Okay. So the output of these, in terms of, petroleum coming straight out of them, isn't far off what's coming out of each one of those pipes. So effectively I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. What have I done here? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Huh. Huh. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. So how many actual machines are there? There are exactly 100 machines. So it's 10 by 10, presumably. Trying to think what might be a good way of dividing that up differently then. Oh, 2, 4, 6, 8. Basically just wondering, could I use, you see, I could use priority splitters on these. And have, you know, the 8. So we make this an 8 to 8, as I was thinking about before. It'll be quite tight in terms of its volume, but I know this is overproducing. I'll use priority splitters to push it down this way first, and then the excess goes the other way. Stick some extra balancers on here to take it down to however many lanes that I want. And we could have these builds effectively tacking on the end. But we've got an extra lane of petroleum, so we just sort of feed it in. I mean, it's not really a lane, it's just like, well, I suppose it is in total, isn't it? 2, 4, 6, 8. Could I make, so if we had 100, how does that divide into 8? 12 and a half. 13 lucky for some. Because we've got 13 machines, 8 rows, 4, so that'd still work quite well. Because I'm wondering if I then take the station, you see. Station could be like in here. I could do something funky about having like a double station, and there's just a train that just goes up to the boat and unloads the boat, maybe. The other alternative is I flip this round entirely. I have a feeling it might have to be that anyway because of how I've squished all this. Because these are, you know, just the number of machines I need. They're not actual... The builds wouldn't be anything like that. I think I'm going to have to rotate it round, aren't I? Bum. Okay. Okay. Let us move some of this out of the way. And then we can just build the plastic building here. Oh, let's put it there. So yeah, these basically become priority splitters. So effectively do that for every one. And then we do undergrounding. Because I might be able to line that up with that. Oh, you see. No, can't line it up there. Certainly do that. Okay. What space does that leave me for a balancer though? Yeah, no, that's not bother with that. So what's that? That's 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. So we need this basically. Each of these. Come and break it later. Well, and that is the first one, except got ones here. Have I left a 2 a gap? Yeah. No. So that goes to there, doesn't it? Oh, I've missed one. That's why it's not. That's why it's not making sense, because it's not not sensible. So the gap is those two. Same malarkey here. One's out. Oh. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Thought I had too many then. Oops. Should just be over there. Oh, I've lined this up wrong. Should be there. Wait, what? Oh, I suppose it depends on my doing one tile around that. Yeah, let's do it like that. Let's just, 'cause can't be bothered to fix it then. But yeah, we need to copy. Finish this one off. That, 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 that. Now I think we want 8 to 4s. Yeah, I've got a non-connection. Oh no, that's because I chopped it off, didn't I? So, if we nip back down and turn these back in, turn these into 8 to 8s. 8 to 8s, like so. Shall I? Got no? No. Now what we're doing with the pipe, or this one anyway, this. Okay. Thought Matt would have to have it going down the middle, but it didn't quite work, does it? And we'll have the same issue there. Yes, I could sort of transfer it into the middle. To the outside, rather. So that could just go that way. Oh. Straight pipe, please. As we go up. Yeah, don't know what I'm going to do with that one because it makes it all very uneven. Yeah, so we want the actual plastic then, and there's then 8 lanes. So this, yeah, one there, one there, one there, one there, basically. Okay. And where are the actual? So how do I actually want to set it, etc. Be nice for this to have same sort of size, distance there, wouldn't it? So then if that's the stone brick, then there. Concrete under these. How are we actually going to arrange it? Because we've got solids involved now. So if that's the input, like so. Then we also need to be able to put the coal in, which should be, hopefully, relatively simple. And we need an output, which we have to do some balancing on, or could we do something coming out the middle like that? And then we can use those, might have to be on that side, but those power poles. Maybe. Maybe, maybe. Because we're going to have plenty of room here, so we could do all sorts, but... itchier plastic. So I was saying I was going to have 8, wasn't I? So, yes. If we just sort of take... Oh yeah, they're going to be uneven, aren't they? Hmm. How many lanes of plastic is this theoretically pumping out? 11. Right. That's a nice, not round number, isn't it? So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8. So there are going to be multiple lanes of plastic coming out. But I already decided, I don't know what the numbers were. So we had 100. And I divided by... So it's 13, wasn't it? So it was 13 times 8. 104. So why don't we make it 14? 112. 80. And then let's just copy this in. So that'll be 4, 8. How many lanes would that produce? A lane. Okay. I said 14, didn't I? How much just used then in terms of coal? 0.3, okay. Just if that's a lane, we could have that be a unit basically. So you know they could feed into one. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. Basically get same again here, and these two pop out of the fence. Spacing doesn't quite work. So what I'm thinking is then that repeats. So yeah, this is one block of plastic production. Do I have fences or do I have gaps? Might depend on the length of the underground. The underground goes there. So I think we have to double it up anyway, but we then have another one. Pipes would connect if I did it like that. So that would be 4, 8, 12, 16 machines. It's going to use 1.5 lanes of plastic. Of coal and produce 4. Wait, have I... Well, this is in the middle, isn't it? So we then need to... Oh! What did I do there? So this then... This unit... is like that. Potentially, because we've got bigger space there, have it go the other way. And it sort of pops underneath. Because how much do they produce? Yeah, they're about. Okay. So all of those add into one. Go that way. That way. So that's coming out of there. there or what have you. One there. And then copy. No, these are wrong, aren't they? It's not there. And the other way. Need to tidy it up and all that, but tidy it up and all that. Well, that's the autosave, so that must be telling me. Must be set to end. So I need to copy that one there. And this one to here. But that's only half. Or it's like 2/3 of the machines I need. I think. So that's 64. 96. So it's not quite enough, is it? If I have just like a third one. In other words, if I copy that, well, I say it's not quite enough. I've done all sorts of rounding and averaging and messing about. I bet 96 is perfectly fine. I quite like that as well, because then it's like little cell units producing plastic out of this great big monstrosity. Yeah, cool. Right, so that's it for today. I better have a look. Is there anyone still hanging around? People just normally drift away with that. Because I get so wrapped up in. Oh, it's 15 here. Okay. So we'll do a raid then. If anyone's got any suggestions for who they might want to raid, if you're actively watching, just in on the background, that's great too. But if you have any suggestions, then do please put them in the chat. Oh, so some of you still there. Cracking. You have a good night. I didn't really ask. I assumed you, because you normally drop off when you do a raid over. Did your multiplayer go all right? You having fun there? I don't know if you're still doing that that bonkers map with the, what was it? The I can't remember what it was. You had like little subsections, as it were. If I put the schedule up, there we go. So yes, from now on, I won't save that yet because it will kill my bandwidth. It was good, cool. So which one are you doing now, the multiplayer? I know you're doing the scenarios one, weren't you? I still haven't really given the scenarios a go myself. Going for a Factorio, that's the one. Sorry, I'm just trying to fiddle about with my settings. So yes, so the schedule has changed basically. So now that they're doing Friday Facts every Friday again, I will be doing that pre-bit, basically reading through the things so that I can do a chopped down edited video for my YouTube. Obviously, people are more than happy for people to join me and speculate along. But yeah, it's basically a sort of a pre-extra bit. I might introduce a little bit of a break because it's a bit too long. I didn't have a single drink. A bit too long to go without for me. My bladder is. I'm of an age where the bladder is a pressing need quite often. But yeah, so might tweak that timing. But basically, then we'll go on for the normal Factorio stream. Next week it will be back to blueprints. I'll be working on the defences again, that expandable blueprint system where I can just lay it down and it tiles and it lets me just expand it from halfway across the map. As I say, that whole series is really gearing up to do another mega base, but not sort of in a very gentle way. So that'll be next week. I think there'll be one more of these. I think that's right, and then it's the week that I'm off to the conference. It might be 2 more of these, I don't know, but that will then be the conference, and there'll be a break then, and then we'll come back and we'll start Angels, and I'll just do an Angels playthrough. I'm assuming that will be similar to Bob's in length. I'm going to tweak the settings. I'm not really going to bother with biters. They'll be there, so we can do combat stuff, but they'll be on like peaceful and no expansion and stuff. So it's more just so that I can work out what Angels is and how it's different to Bob's, etc. What I do after that, I don't know, because if it's going to be a year before there's the expansion, then I need to think whether I'm going to try SpaceX or maybe do Pyanodons or something like that. A really longer term one that I can also probably blend these back into when I get a bit bored of those. So that's the long-term plan for Factorio. Tomorrow we'll be continuing Stardew Valley. As I say, that will go as well until the schedule, until the break, and then after that I'll probably look at Tectonica. There's been a couple of big updates on Satisfactory, and suddenly my machine is able to run it. They did say they were performance updates. I'm not sure that wasn't the video that I accidentally played. They have done two really big ones, and it does seem to have hugely benefited my system. So I might look at messing about in Satisfactory again and seeing what the updates are that they did, because I literally haven't been able to play it. It's been literally like 2 frames a second type of speed, so might look at that, but I don't know. I'd like to give Tectonica a go and give it a chance. I've heard it's a bit rough and ready though. So now I'm going to say no worries. It's no problem. So I'm not seeing any suggestions for raids, so I will just have a look and see if there's anyone I follow who's currently live. No. So let's have a look and see who's playing Factorio. I say I'm busting for a week, so I won't be really doing the myself. Let's have a look and see if I'm there. I don't know. Is anyone playing Sphere Program? It'd be nice to send you all over there. I love that game, but it doesn't seem to really get much streaming in the English language. Why can't I see the program? All right, there is some people. I don't know. They've all got one viewer, so I mean, it just doesn't seem to have the traction. I wonder if there's anything going on there. No, there's no one streaming that either at all. Wow. I guess it's because it's summer, isn't it? There's very few. You get much reduced numbers and stuff anyway. But I'd say I don't know any of these names, I'm afraid. But we can. Let's have a look. So it's all just sort of one person streaming, which is it's good, but good to know who to send you over to. Let's say my bladder is making this a complicated thing to look at. Right, so I'm literally just going to randomly pick somebody playing Factorio, and you obviously don't have to join. Oh, well, there's Dutton 1. Let's go with that. They got 9 or so viewers, so I will send you over there, and then I have to remember to do a raid because I never do this. Jeez. Yes, so I say, well, I'll send you over to somebody called Dutton 1. I don't know them. It just says chill, casual, etc. on the stream. It looks like they're playing multiplayer actually, so it looks like the very early game. So do play nice. But I'll send you over there. So just I will sign off. Oh, I guess the thing I didn't plug as well is you'll see there's a YouTube channel, which that's got all my VODs on it. So if you wanted to catch up with this series or any of my other stuff, then you can catch that on the YouTube channel. I say an edited version of the comments, the read through will go up there at some point as well. So yes, there's that as well. So if you have been watching, hope you've enjoyed it and you might consider coming back for another. I've been Magistus. This has been Factorio. Thanks for watching.